Welcome back to the channel, everybody. To quote John Bon Jovi, we're halfway there, and we're living on a prayer. And depending on what NFL team you're a fan of, you probably are living on a prayer for your playoff hopes. This is Week 10 of the NFL, the official start of the second half of the 2025 NFL season. As halfway through the season, 87-48 on the season, 9-5 in Week 9. As it was a good week, but it was very mercurial as well. As I've been very streaky lately, and I'm just trying to have a nice, smooth week. We got 4 teams on the bye this week, so 14 games. And let's not waste any more time. Jump right into it. These are my Week 10 picks of the 2025 NFL season. And as always, we'll start off with the Thursday night game this week in Denver between the Las Vegas Raiders and the Denver Broncos. And I am going to keep it nice, short, sweet, to the point. I am taking the Denver Broncos and I am locking them up. So that's about as early as a lock as you can get. I called the Broncos a top 10 Super Bowl contender a couple days ago, and in my opinion, they're living up to it. Now, they're not a dominant team by any means of the stretch, because the Broncos are actually 4-0 this season when they're trailing in the fourth quarter. So, yeah, they're a very clutch team, but I can't really call them dominant if they have to play their best brand of football in the final quarter of the game. But regardless, they're pulling off wins. They're 7-2 on the season, leading the AFC West. And I think they're currently the second seed in the AFC as of this recording. So yeah, the Broncos are playing some really good football. Top 5 offense and defense in the league. And the Raiders, crushing loss to the Jaguars in overtime, or they failed a 2-point conversion. And I think Denver, if they force Geno Smith into third and long situations, they're going to get it done right there. They definitely have the defense to do it. Brock Bowers is going to be back for the Raiders, but I really don't think it matters. I am taking the Broncos to win this one handily over the Raiders to get to 8-2. Then, the return of the international games. We go back to Europe. For the Atlanta Falcons and the Indianapolis Colts, this game is in Germany. Unfortunately, I cannot do a German accent, and I won't try to do a German accent, so you're just going to be stuck with my annoying voice. So anyway, Falcons and the Colts. Isn't it nice to not pick the Atlanta Falcons? Because every time, well, not every time, but almost every time I pick a Falcons game, I get it wrong. But this past week, I got it right, as I took the Patriots to beat them. And Atlanta, they remain the most unpredictable team in the NFL. But this week, they're going up against the Indianapolis Colts. And in case you haven't heard the news, Indianapolis, 6 turnovers against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Daniel Jones was responsible for 5 of them. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, that's the capabilities of the Steeler defense, and Indy just had an off game. I think both those things can be true, because the Steeler defense is capable of being that good, but they are just very, very inconsistent with it, to say the least. And the Colts, I don't know if this is an omen for the rest of their season, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and saying, well, you know, they had a really bad game against us, and maybe they fell back to earth a little bit. But, yeah, sometimes you need a wake-up call like that. But, yeah, I think the Colts are going to be okay. I think Jonathan Taylor will not be taken out in this game like he was against the Steelers last week, and I think Jonathan Taylor needs to win this game for the Colts, and I think he definitely is. You got a matchup of 2 great running backs here, Bijan Robinson and Jonathan Taylor. Now, the Colts, defensively, they don't give up a ton of passing yards, and that's a good thing as well, because I think they're going to have Michael Penix beat him here. Michael Penix has been pretty inconsistent this year. And the Colts, I mean, yeah, the Steelers got 27 points on the Colts, but 24 of the 27 points came off of turnovers that were set up by short fields because of the defense. I don't think Atlanta's defense is capable of doing that. So for that matter, I'm going to go ahead and take the Colts to rebound, get that ugly loss out of their mouth with a win here over the Falcons. I am taking Indy to get it done over Atlanta. Then, back to the United States. We got the New York Giants taking on the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field, as the Giants coming off a bad loss at home once again to the San Francisco 49ers, 34-24, as they are 2-7 on the year, taking on the Chicago Bears, who had a pretty interesting win over the Cincinnati Bengals, 47-42. A game in which the Bears had a 41-27 lead with about 7 minutes left in the game. Bengals got 15 points in like less than a minute. Then the Bears were driving, and the Bengals had that game won because Caleb Williams found Colton Loveland across the middle on a regular completion. He was sandwiched by two Bengals defenders. Both of them missed the tackles, and then he had a wide open lane the rest of the way, and no one could stop him for a 58-yard touchdown to give the Bears the lead and ultimately the win. Man, Cincinnati's defense is just horrendous, but Chicago's defense has been pretty disappointing too, and I think this might be a game where Jackson Dart could have a big game. So this honestly might be a pretty high-scoring game here just because both defenses are pretty bad. But for me, it comes down to whoever has the ball last and who I trust having the ball last. Jackson Dart, he's a rookie. I think he's doing what he can with the Giants, and like I've said over the past couple weeks, I think the kid definitely has a bright future in this league. But just based on last week, if Caleb Williams has the ball in his hands last, I think I trust him to win the game more than I do a rookie quarterback, despite Caleb Williams only being in his second year. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Chicago Bears to win this one in a closer game and a more high-scoring game than most of you might think. But I'm going to go ahead and take the Bears to get the win over the Giants to get the 6-3 and keep things up and keep momentum up in a very crowded NFC North. So I'm going to take Chicago. Then we got the New Orleans Saints and the Carolina Panthers. This one is in Charlotte, as the Saints continue to be awful. They are 1-8 on the year, if I'm not mistaken, dropping one in LA to the Rams, 34-10. Tyler Shuck got the green light to make his NFL debut, and he did okay. But, going up against a physical Rams team like that, don't expect much from the kid. Just, not a lot to say about the Saints. Then you got the Carolina Panthers. So, how about the Panthers? They did this past week what I thought they would do the week before, which was pull off an upset. They went into Lambeau and beat the Packers. So, Carolina, they're kind of starting to become the Falcons a little bit, where they're becoming unpredictable. So, if that defense can definitely step things up for Carolina, we've seen it before. They shut out the Falcons. Atlanta has a way better offense than New Orleans does. So, to me, if the Panthers are good enough to shut out Atlanta, they can definitely shut out the Saints. Now, I don't think it's going to be a shutout, but I definitely think Carolina's defense is going to play a big role in this game here. The other thing is that Bryce Young, he really needs a consistent ground game, because Bryce Young just simply can't get the job done on his own. Basically, just eat up the clock, eat up time of possession, win those battles there, and they're good to go. Keep the Saints' defense on the field as much as possible. The Saints are only averaging about 15 points a game, so if Carolina's defense, like I said, they're capable of shutting out Atlanta, they are definitely able to, at the very least, limit New Orleans. And for that matter, I am going to go ahead and take the Carolina Panthers to get to 6-4. Yeah, they're going to be, 6-2 in their last 8 games. Carolina's actually playing some pretty decent football right now. And I'm going to go ahead and take them to beat the Saints to get to 6-4. Who'd have thought that for Carolina? Ravens and the Vikings up in Minneapolis. So the Ravens are 3-5, and they are right now second place in the AFC North. a dominant win over the Miami Dolphins, 28-6, and Lamar Jackson's return. Lamar was phenomenal in his return. He tossed 4 touchdown passes, 2 of them to the guy that Ravens fans sent death threats to after the playoff game, Mark Andrews, who's considered no weapons, I guess. But anyway, Ravens got it done over the Dolphins, and Minnesota, was it an emotional win for them, or was it a game that saved their season? Because they went to Detroit and beat the Lions, who were coming off their bye week, 27-24. I mean, J.J. McCarthy, he didn't, light up the Lions or anything, but he was efficient enough to beat them. So, if J.J. McCarthy is able to be that efficient, Minnesota might have something at quarterback. The guy also just needs to stay healthy. The guy has had such bad luck with injuries in his young career so far. So definitely, if he stays healthy and he just stays efficient, Vikings might finally have something at quarterback. Then, of course, you got Mason and Justin Jefferson. Minnesota definitely has a nucleus on offense to work with. Now, their defense does give up some kind of points, but they can definitely hang in there. And I think at the moment right now, the Ravens' offense is a little bit better than Minnesota's defense. But even though the Ravens do have a couple advantages in this game, okay, despite the fact they're on the road, they are on 3 days rest. And their offense is clicking on all cylinders right now because Lamar Jackson's back, okay? Those are 2 big advantages for the Ravens. However, my deciding factor is this. Minnesota's offense is better than Baltimore's defense. The Ravens, even though their defense has been pretty good over the last couple of games, only allowing 22 points in the last 2 games, 16 to the Bears, 6 to the Dolphins. Fact is, they're going up against a much better offensive team in Minnesota that is definitely capable of putting points and yards on the stat sheet. So that's where the deciding factor is for me. I like the Vikings offense more than Baltimore's defense. And for that matter, that's why I'm going to say the Minnesota Vikings are my upset of the week. That's right. Vikings are my upset of the week. Ravens play back-to-back road games. Now, like I said, they are on 3 days rest, which serves as a benefit for them. But this ain't the Dolphins, okay? The Vikings are a way better offensive team than the Ravens are. Simple fact is, if Minnesota can get them in a deficit and they can make Lamar carry the team on his back, that is your best chance of beating the Ravens. You eliminate Derrick Henry, you eliminate that run attack that the Ravens have, and you make Lamar be a passer solely in the game, and you take out his best ability, which is his legs, you're going to beat the Ravens, or at least you're going to have a better chance of beating them. I think the Vikings definitely have that offense that can do that. I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings to upset the Ravens here, get to 5-4, and this may very well put the Vikings right back in the swing of things in the NFC North if they didn't already with that win over the Lions. If they beat the Lions coming off their bye week, and now they play the Ravens that have 3 extra days of rest, they can definitely beat the Ravens. I'm taking Minnesota for the upset here. Then we got the Bills and the Dolphins. This one is down in Miami. And another short and easy one. I'm taking Buffalo to win this one handily here. The Bills got it done over the Chiefs in the regular season once again. They are 6-2. They are currently the top wild card in the AFC, still playing very well. And that bye week and that loss to Atlanta may very well have changed the complexity of their entire season. The Bills were on a bit of a slide, but then they had their bye week. They got their act together, and they've pulled off 2 straight wins. And Buffalo's right back in it. So a little bit of a hiccup, but the Bills are back to form, in my opinion. Miami, they're terrible. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Dolphins are terrible. They finally fire Chris Grier, their GM, who Dolphins fans have wanted gone for years now, which probably means Mike McDaniels won't be fired this season, and Tua Tagovailoa continues to be the league leader in interceptions and going up against that Buffalo defense that can get turnovers in bunches. Yeah, it's pretty obvious. And the fact that almost every time that The Bills go up against the Dolphins with Josh Allen and Tua. I'm going to take Josh Allen to win, so I'm taking Buffalo to win this one pretty handily over the Dolphins. Then we got Jacksonville at Houston. This one was actually a little tricky for me to pick because I honestly could see this being a 50-50 game here. So the Jaguars are coming off a win in overtime against the Raiders, 30-29. Yeah, Jacksonville, like, their defense was pretty spotty in that Raider game, and they really only won because of a failed 2-point conversion. They are 5-3, but I think Jacksonville is a little bit of a fraudulent 5-3 team, or maybe it's just I don't know, maybe it could just be learning curves for them, but I really don't know what to make of the Jaguars. I mean, they did beat Houston in the regular season with CJ Stroud playing in the game, so I guess anything is possible, but to me, Trevor Lawrence, he needs to be less turnover happy. Trevor Lawrence is very turnover prone, and with Travis Hunter being on IR and he's going to be out for at least a month, I think that's a big loss right there for Jacksonville. Then you got Houston. They have a better, their run game better get going here, and their defense really needs to be spot on in this game because the Texans got injuries to their defense in that loss to the Denver Broncos where they only kicked 5 field goals against them. And then, of course, the big one, CJ Stroud is in concussion protocol. Nasty concussion that he suffered in that Broncos game. So that's big right there. I mean, CJ Stroud is pretty inconsistent thus far, but the fact is they need CJ Stroud to be in the best shape possible to win a game. And without him, Houston's chances of winning rapidly diminish. So you're probably looking at Davis Mills starting this game for the Texans. And with an injured defense, I really don't know if that's going to serve as an advantage for him. So definitely this one's a 50-50 game. So my takeaways are this. Jacksonville needs to get the run game going. They need to expose the weaknesses on that Houston defense, which they had the number one defense for quite some time now. So this is going to be a testament to see how good of a coach that DeMeco Ryans is. So if they get the run game going, Trevor Lawrence stops turning the ball over, and they take advantage of Davis Mills being in this game, and their defense steps up, I think Jacksonville can pull off the win, and they can pull off the sweep. Like I said, they already beat Houston earlier in the season when C.J. Stroud was playing. Now they're going down to Houston to play them. So, again, this one took me a while, but I'm going to go with the team that I think has more benefits for him going for him, and the team that I just simply trust more right now, and to me, that's the Jaguars. I'm going to take Jacksonville to beat Houston. Normally in a situation like this, I'd go home team because I'm very unsure of who to pick, but right here, I think the choice is a little more clear. Jacksonville's healthier in this game, despite they are going to be missing Travis Hunter, but Houston with the injuries on defense and C.J. Stroud possibly missing this game due to concussion protocol. And even if he does play in this game, he's not going to be 100%. I'm going to take Jacksonville to win this one over Houston and complete the sweep of them, get to 6-3. And this loss could very well kill the Texans' season. So I'm going to go ahead and actually take Jacksonville to win this one. Game of the week, right here. The 7-2 New England Patriots flying on down to Tampa to play, I think, the 6-2 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are coming off their bye week. Very good game right here, Patriots and the Bucs. So, New England is 7-2. They won against the Falcons 24-23, but New England had a 21-7 halftime lead. Atlanta came back. They almost pulled an Uno reverse card over the Patriots, and that would have been funny if Atlanta did complete the comeback, but this is the Falcons we're talking about, so they can just not have anything work for them. Patriots in that win, though. Stevenson got banged up, which actually might be a good thing for him because Stevenson is very fumble-prone and he's very inconsistent. But Drake May is showing that he can single-handedly lead the charge on offense. Drake May is having a very nice, efficient season. But the Patriots also got injured in that game against Atlanta, too. So New England's coming in a little crippled in this game against Tampa Bay. As for the Bucs, they are 6-2 on the season. As I said, they are coming off their bye week. They had a nice win over the Saints before the bye week. But Tampa, they are also very injured, so the injury card just kind of gets canceled out for this game right here. The thing with Tampa is that they had a week to rest and to get a little healthier. So I think if Tampa stars are... I think if Tampa is to have a chance in this game, their stars need to get back on the field. They need Godwin back in this game. They needed Buka back on the field in this game. They definitely need Bucky Irving back on the field for this game, which all of them are listed as questionable. So it's likely they could play, but they're not guaranteed to play. But I think they have a chance of playing. If they can get them on the field and they can stay healthy, they have a great chance of winning. Plus, they just need to put someone else at wide receiver if no one else can, and I think Baker Mayfield is able to make it work. Mike Vrabel been doing a really good job as the Patriots head coach, and yeah, this is going to be a big test for the Patriots because for weeks on end now, I've been saying I'm not impressed with their wins outside of the Buffalo win, and this right here is their true test to see if they're legitimate in the AFC or not. If New England wins this game, then I will say they are legitimate. If not, then I'm still going to say what I've been saying about them. The Bucs, we know what they're capable of doing. So they've been there before. Like I said, litmus test for New England to see how legit they are. But I will be a little bit fair to the Patriots, okay? If they lose, but they at least make it a game, I'll still say they're legitimate. But if Tampa dominates them in this game, then I think the choice is clear. I don't think Tampa's going to dominate them, but I do think the Bucs pull off the win just because they're the home team and I'm undecided who to go with, so I'm going to go with my usual shtick here. I'm taking Tampa to get the win, and I think they cover. I think Tampa wins 30-27. I think the Patriots are going to make it a great game, but I think in the end, Tampa are going to pull off their comeback kids moniker, maybe rally from about, I don't know, a 7-point deficit or so and beat the Patriots in the fourth quarter. And I'll even say on a last-second field goal as time expires. So I'm going to go ahead, take the Bucs to win a game, a very close game over the Patriots, and get to 7-2, and New England's winning streak comes to an end. So I'm taking Tampa to win a very close one. Well, transitioning from the game of the week to the toilet bowl of the week. Undeniably, the toilet bowl of the week. The Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets out in East Rutherford. Both teams are coming off their bye week too, so I can't say that one has the advantage over the other because it cancels out right there. But the one thing the Jets have going for them in this game is that the game is in New Jersey, and the Browns haven't won a road game since week 2 of last season. So the Browns are on a lengthy losing streak on the road. So that's an advantage for the Jets. But I think that's the only advantage that really the Jets have going for them in this game because both these teams are in a similar predicament. Both of them need great performances out of their quarterback in the worst way possible because their defense is the only thing that's keeping them in games. The Jets have an okay defense, but the only reason they give up so many yards and they give up so many points is because their offense can't get anything going with Justin Fields. Same deal with the Browns. Their defense is really good, but they spend a lot of time on the field because, as usual for the Browns, they don't have an offense and they especially don't have a quarterback. So, yeah, both these teams, they need great play out of their quarterbacks in the worst way possible. But that being said, who do I possibly take for this game here? Aaron Glenn, not a good head coach, whereas Kevin Stefanski is an okay coach, but he does have 2 Coach of the Years. I don't know why the Browns are hesitant on starting Shedeur Sanders. Like, you took this kid in the draft, and you're confident that he can be the guy for you, yet you're still probably going to go with Dylan Gabriel. Like, Cleveland is such an incompetent organization. Why would you draft Shedeur Sanders only for you to be hesitant about starting him? Just give him his chance to go. And don't give me the excuse of, well, we'd be giving him a baptism by fire because we're putting a young quarterback against a good defense. You're doing the same thing with Dylan Gabriel. Why do you have more confidence in him than Shedeur Sanders? All Dylan Gabriel needs to do is be a game manager at best. Cleveland has no idea what they're doing. But, this basically comes down to who I trust more defensively. And right now, it's the Cleveland Browns because they definitely have a defense that is capable of shutting you down. In their 2 wins, they limited their opponents against Green Bay and Miami. Miami is nothing impressive because the Dolphins stink, but Green Bay is a nice win for them, especially with what the Packers are capable of doing on offense. So, because I have to pick someone to win and because I don't give a flying fuck about this game, I'm going to go ahead and take the Browns to win. I think Cleveland finally snaps their road losing streak. They get in the win column. They get their 3rd win. Before that, they had a bad loss to the Patriots, but they did beat the Dolphins in the aforementioned game before. I'm going to take the Browns to beat the Jets in New Jersey to get to, I think, 3-6, if I'm not mistaken, but who cares? Jets are awful. I'm taking Cleveland to win. And my other X factor for the Browns is their rookie running back Jenkins. I think he is definitely an X factor here. So if he can get them going, that's a big key. But yeah, I'm taking Cleveland to win just for the hell of it. Later slate of games, Cardinals and the Seahawks up in Seattle. Arizona, a nice win over the Dallas Cowboys on Monday Night Football, 27-17, snapping that 5-game losing streak, still last place in the NFC West at 3-5. While the Seahawks are coming off of a dominant win over Washington, 38-14, and this Seahawks team just continues to kick ass, man. They are 6-2 on the year, and in my opinion, they are a very dangerous team. I think a lot of people are sleeping on them when it comes to Super Bowl favorites in the NFC. They are a very well-balanced team. Their defense is phenomenal. Sam Darnold just continues to throw dots and be efficient passing and be accurate passing, makes great decisions. They got a great run game in Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. You got Torrey Holton is a great other option for Sam Darnold, and JSN has 900 yards receiving. He leads the NFL in that category. He is an amazing wide receiver one that the Seahawks got over there. And yeah, this Seahawks team, they win the NFC West, which is very plausible. They are going to be a very tough team to beat in the playoffs. You do not want... You know what? As a matter of fact, I don't think it matters if Seattle wins the West or not, because they've won 10 straight road games. I actually think the Seahawks are a more dangerous road team than they are a home team. I mean, they're a good home team for sure, but they're an even better road team. So, I actually think if Seattle doesn't win the West, they're more of a threat. You do not... If the Seahawks make the playoffs, which I think they will, they are definitely going to be in the playoffs, they are going to be a tough team to beat. Arizona, they're pretty hurt for as nice of a win as they had against the Cowboys. They are pretty banged up. Their defense got the job done big over that prolific Cowboys offense, but going up against this Seahawks defense, you need to be at full strength, and for that matter, I'm going to take the Seahawks to complete the sweep over the Cardinals. I just think Seattle is head and shoulders the better team over the Cardinals, whereas Arizona, they are not healthy in this game. Jacoby Brissett, he had a nice game against the Dallas Cowboys, and the defense stepped up big time, but Seattle's an entirely different animal. I'm going to go ahead and take the Seahawks to win this game. Next up, rematch of the divisional between the Detroit Lions and the Washington Redskins in D.C. Lions coming off a bad loss at home to the Vikings, 27-24. They're 5-3 on the year, and right as I call the Lions my top favorite for my Super Bowl favorite in the NFC, hold everything. I still think they're a threat to go to the Super Bowl, but I'm going to put a couple teams ahead of them right now. They're 5-3 still, and they can definitely get things going in the second half, but yeah, I don't know about being the top favorite for Super Bowl favorites now, but yeah, Detroit's still a really good team. They're taking on Washington, who is 3-6. They've lost 4 straight games. Their season is basically done now, and so is pretty much Jaden Daniels' for the rest of the season. In that loss to the Seahawks, Jaden Daniels suffered a gruesome left elbow injury that was I think diagnosed to be dislocated, and they're unsure if he can return. The x-rays did come out negative, so it might not be season-ending. But if I'm Washington, two things. Number one, I don't care what the prognosis is. I'm shutting down Jaden Daniels for the rest of the season. Because Jaden Daniels was injured earlier this season, and this guy's your franchise quarterback. You cannot afford to risk losing him even more long-term than you already are. He's definitely out at least a month or so. So it doesn't matter what the prognosis is. If I'm Washington, I'm shutting Daniels down for the rest of the year. So that's Marcus Mariota, he's an efficient backup. So that's number one. And finally, number two. Why was Jaden Daniels even in the game still in the fourth quarter? It was 38-7 when he got injured. And there's just no way, with the way Seattle was playing, Washington was going to come back to win. It's not even hindsight bias. He should not have been in that game, knowing that he was injured earlier this year and even parts of last year as well. So he does have injury history. And there's no way, with your season getting away from you, playing a very good Seahawks team, that you're going to come back and win the game. He should not have been out there. And now you paid the price for it by losing him long term. That was a terrible coaching decision on Dan Quinn's part right there. Like I said, not even hindsight bias. That was doomed from the start. Okay? So Dan Quinn basically just cost Washington's season right there. And they were 12-5 last year. They've already surpassed their loss total from last year at midseason. Washington's done. I don't see Washington coming back from this. They're done. And now they're taking on a Lions team who is going to come in extra motivated, remembering the embarrassing loss that Washington gave them in the divisional round of last year, with the way the Lions offense is still capable of putting points up on the board, and the well-oiled machine they are in the backfield with Sonic and Knuckles, and the receiving core they got with what Jared Goff has to work with his receiving core. Granted, Detroit is banged up on defense a bit, but Marcus Mariota, while he is efficient, I don't think he's going to be able to rip the Lions defense apart like Jaden Daniels was able to in the divisional. I'm going to take Detroit to win this game. And, like I said, Washington, their season is basically over. Debo being banged up and Scary Terry being banged up as well, that's just icing on the cake. I'm taking Detroit to win this one over Washington. Next, we got my rivalry of the week. This is another rivalry that I really love watching. Packers-Vikings is one that I really love watching. Obviously, Ravens-Steelers I love watching. Giants-Eagles I love watching, but I don't think Rams-49ers gets enough love. Like, these two have really good games against each other. Rams and the 49ers, and this is going to be one hell of a matchup too. Both teams are 6-2 on the year. San Francisco does have the tiebreaker over them because they beat the Rams earlier this season on a Thursday night game, and now the game is in San Francisco, and they're basically the same teams going at it. So for LA, they dominated the Saints 34-10, but in that game, Puka Nacua did suffer a chest injury. He did not return, but whenever someone on the Rams has been beat down and someone on the Rams has been hurt, someone else has stepped up, and that guy is definitely Devontae Adams. He is still putting up wide receiver 1 numbers, and Matthew Stafford is probably having the most efficient season of his career. So they're injured. So LA is coming into this game a little banged up, but they're still a very good team, and their defense is still being productive as others. So that's LA. Then you got the 49ers. Well, did I say both teams are 6-2? Well, LA 6-2, San Francisco 6-3. Because 49ers didn't have their bye week yet. But anyway, 49ers are still playing great football. They are... The story remains the same. They've been injured all season, but they are winning games. And ironically, the player that's been the most healthy for them is CMC. The guy has a ton of injury history, and he's the entire heart and soul of this 49er offense here. And now, since they beat them with Mac Jones back, I think it was like in week 5 or so, they beat them with Mac Jones And now Brock Purdy has a chance of coming back in this game for San Francisco. That's an even bigger confidence booster for the 49ers here. And as I said, they're down their two best players on defense, and they've been missing weapons on offense all year. But the fact is, if you're good enough to win 6 of 9 games through 9 weeks of the season, you're doing something right. This is a very good 49ers team. They're a very well-coached team. Shanahan continues to get the most out of his players here. And I think only as the weeks go by, San Francisco's only going to go a little healthier. And this game, I think, is a really big step forward for him with possibly getting Brock Purdy back. The Rams, in most cases, I do pick them to win some games. But I don't know. Against San Francisco, I'm hesitant to pick them because it just seems like every time they go up against the 49ers, Shanahan just seems to have some kind of a mental block on... He just seems to have some kind of a mental block on Sean McVay. And Matthew Stafford doesn't usually play very well against San Francisco. So I am going to go ahead and say the 49ers complete the sweep over the Rams. I'm unsure of who to pick, so I typically go home team. That's what I'm going to do here. I'm taking the 49ers to complete the sweep over the Rams, get to 7-3, and they very well could be still first place in the NFC West, depending on what happens with the Cardinals-Seahawks game. But yeah, I'm taking San Francisco to complete the sweep. Sunday Night Football, we got my matchup. 5-3 Pittsburgh Steelers flying on out to Inglewood to play the 6-3 LA Chargers. Couple of things for this matchup here. Number one, I don't know why this is a Sunday night game. I mean, you could you could have this game be in the 4 o'clock slot like most West Coast games are, and it would have the same impact. So I don't know why this is this is a Sunday night game. But anyway, the Steelers are 5-3. They're coming off of a nice win over the Colts. Now, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, you're celebrating nothing, Mac. Oh, your celebrations mean nothing." Guys, I'm not celebrating the win. Okay, do you understand? I mean, what? I can't sit down here and give credit where it's due. I'm not celebrating anything. I know this team isn't all that good. I say it every single week. They're not that good. But I can't give credit where it's due. The defense had a great game against the Colts. The Colts were the number 1 scoring offense in the league. The defense got their asses kicked in back-to-back weeks by the Bengals and Packers, giving up almost 500 yards of offense in both games. And I rightfully ripped the defense a new asshole because this defense is the most expensive defense in the league. They're making $178 million out there. They're allowing 30 or more points in 4 games. So what? I can't sit down here and be fucking honest about this team? Come on, man. But, yeah, I will sit down here and give credit where it's due. You force 6 turnovers against the number 1 scoring offense in the league. You get constant pressure on Daniel Jones. And, yeah, it was 27-10 with about 5 minutes left to go in the game. It was 24-7 at the beginning of the 4th quarter. And then the Colts got a bunch of garbage time points and garbage time stats when Daniel Jones threw his 3rd interception of the game and had his 5th turnover. Yeah, I'll sit down here and give our defense credit. That was a hell of a game they had against the Colts. Still, I'm not sold on the Steelers until they go on a deep playoff run and even win 1 playoff game and don't choke in monumental fashion like they do in December every year. But yeah, I'm going to sit down here and give the defense credit where it's due. That was a great game they had against the Colts. Offense needs to be a bit more efficient, though. Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he looked okay against the Colts. Nothing amazing. He got a lot of short fields against Indy thanks to the defense. But, yeah, when Jaylen Warren had a couple rushing touchdowns, when he didn't have any since Week 12 of last season going into last week, DK Metcalf needs to be a bit more consistent. And I would love to see Omar Khan go after a freaking wide receiver so he can get Aaron Rodgers another weapon, and I'm not just talking about MVS. Calvin Austin is a nice target for Aaron Rodgers, but is Calvin Austin number 2 worthy? No, Calvin Austin's a number 3 at best. No knock at him or anything, but he's a number 3 at best. We need another target for Aaron Rodgers. So teams are going like, we can double team DK Metcalf. They need to get that receiver so DK Metcalf can be the one-on-one nightmare that he always was. So that's my thing with the Steelers right there. As for LA, they are 6-3 on the season. They're coming off of a win over Tennessee, but I wasn't really impressed with that win that the Chargers had over the Titans, okay? Because Tennessee is subjectively the worst team in the league, and LA struggled against them. Now, Joe Alt did get injured against Tennessee, and that is huge right there. So definitely that's an advantage for the defense right there. The Chargers are going to be down their best lineman in this game with an ankle injury. I don't know how long he's going to be out, but one thing's for sure, he is definitely not playing this game. So with a weakened offensive line, and with the fact that you're able to get that kind of pressure on Daniel Jones, and now you got to do that against Justin Herbert, that's an advantage for the Steeler defense right there. The Chargers, I have no doubt, are going to be pass-heavy in this game, as they've been all season, and that serves as an advantage for the Chargers, because knowing how this pass defense the Steelers have, that's not good. This pass defense gives up a big amount of chunk plays. They are killed in the flat every single game, but I don't know if Justin Herbert is that type of quarterback that attacks the flat. Justin Herbert is the type of quarterback that likes to take a lot of deep shots, and I think with Kyle Duggar making a good first impression with the Steelers, that can help out the pass defense a bit more. And if JPJ can just fucking stop getting defensive holdings and defensive pass interferences, he can finally play like the first-round pick mentality that we drafted him to be and come away with an interception like he did against Daniel Jones after Roman Wilson had a disgusting fumble on a hurdle. Yeah, the pass defense can look better in this game. That's just what I think. But the pass-heavy game that the Chargers are basically forced to have because their run game is shot to hell, that frightens me here. So honestly, this matchup is 50-50. So in games like this, I tend to go with the home team, like I usually say. I tend to go with the home team. But the game's out in California. I think this is an unofficial home game for the Steelers. The Chargers have no home field advantage whatsoever. And Steelers fans always travel out well to California. Whenever the Steelers play the Chargers in California, Steeler fans always invade that stadium. They always take over SoFi. I have a nickname for SoFi. SoFi is Heinz Field West. Okay? Brown Stadium is Heinz Field North. Paul Brown Stadium is Heinz Field South. And, SoFi, Heinz Field West. I'm taking the Steelers to win this game just because I think that the Steelers have slightly more advantages than the Chargers going into this game, and I'm really not sold on LA. I mean, they're certainly not a terrible team, and they're certainly not an awful team, but I really don't think LA's all that great either. And the Steelers are coming off of their biggest win in years against the Indianapolis Colts, and the defense is riding momentum in this game, and their offense, while not incredible offensively, if you score 27 points, that should be enough to win you a game. And LA's defense, while it's still strong, it's just simply not what it was last year. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the Steelers to win this one over the Chargers. I just don't buy LA. If they struggled like that against Tennessee, they can absolutely struggle against the Steelers. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Steelers to win this one. Wrapping up Week 10, we got Monday Night Football, another good one. We got the Philadelphia Eagles and the Green Bay Packers going at it in Lambeau. Philly, coming off their bye week, they are 6-2. They got off to, kind of like Buffalo, got off to a strong start. Then they had a hiccup, and then they've won 2 in a row since then. So Philly's back on track, still playing great football. They're 6-2 on the year. Taking on the Green Bay Packers, 5-2-1. Green Bay, lost at home to the Panthers. Like I said, I think Green Bay is a legitimate Super Bowl contender, but also, like I said about them, at times they're their own worst enemy. And that game against Carolina was definitely an example why. Couple of really bad plays by Jordan Love. Offense really couldn't find anything going. And the defense was really good in that game, but if you allow your opponent only 16 points, you should be able to win that game. And the Packers just couldn't take advantage of anything. But Green Bay suffered a really bad loss in that game as well because Tucker Kraft tore his ACL, and he's done for the year. Possibly lengthier time span as well, because ACLs are very hard to come back from. So that's a big blow to Green Bay right there, losing Tucker Kraft. Whereas, guys like Jacobs and Reed and Watson, they can step things up as well, but man, losing your security blanket across the middle of the field like that in Tucker Kraft, that's not good for Green Bay. As for Philly, Saquon is a little bit banged up, but he's had some time to rest coming off their bye week. He's still a great running back. He's still one of the best running backs in the league. I think he's going to get things going. In that game he had against the Giants, I think that was a great signifier right there. Now, granted, Green Bay's defense is a lot better than the Giants, but we'll see come game time. Jalen Hurts, still looking efficient as ever. Deep ball ability, still great. Mobility in the pocket, maneuverability, playmaking ability, still great. His decision-making is still great. Eagles still got a nice set of receivers, and their offense is still fully loaded with that offensive line. Defense is still looking really good, and I think Jordan Love is going to be really tested in this game against that Eagles defense. So, Carolina, they may have an improving defense, but now you're facing the defending champs who just have a much better defense and a much better team in general than a unidentified Carolina team is. I just think Philly's too much, man. So, I'm going to go ahead and take the Eagles to win this game and get it done over Green Bay. I think the Packers will make it a good game, but in the end, Philly, to me, is just head and shoulders the better team, and I got them getting 3 in a row. When Philly starts getting on a roll, they're hard to beat. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Eagles to win this game over the Packers and get to 7-2. There you have it. Those are my Week 10 picks. Tourney members, you know the drill. Comment your picks down below. Even if you're not in the tournament, let me know what your picks are, and I will see you in the next one.